Here's our project from last week. The computer desk. I built it for my neighbor, and he's finishing it in his spare time, and I must say that he's doing a very good job. Look how neat that is. Very nice job. Well, welcome aboard for another Memphis Monday number 80. Today we're going to be fixing a wooden fence, and we better knock off the chatter and get to work. This is how a wooden fence is supposed to be installed. You got fence post every 8 feet. And if you got a chain link fence in the way, just move tear down the chain link fence, or just move the posts out like I did there. And this is how you don't install a chain link fence, a wooden fence. My great idea here was that since I had the chain link fence in place, that I would simply lean the fence sections up against the wooden fence sections up against the chain link fence, and then install these posts so the fence would be held up by both the post and the chain link fence. Let me show you why that didn't work. The problem is that wherever there's a fence, there's no fence post, the whole thing sags, like right here. Because this chain link fence, the post is strong enough, but these chain link fence posts aren't strong enough to hold up the fence. So let me show you what I'm doing. What I'm doing is taking out the chain link and installing a regular treated 4x4 on 8-foot centers. I'm picking up all the little scraps of wire and stuff as I go. Not that I'm a neat freak, but it's just easier that way. This is how I held these posts in place with these fence post spikes. I've used them before building a deck, and they seem to work good. They probably do good with a fence too, but I didn't install them right or something, because this one, the wind blew it over. Lucky thing I got going for me on this project is that the ground here is very sandy and soft, so digging post holes is a snap. Okay, I've already put a little concrete down in the hole. I want to place this new post. Now the post is going to be up against the bottom rail there, and then I will level it. Well, it's day 2. There's nothing particularly technical about this job, but with all these kinds of jobs, the hard part is logistics and demolition, and the just hard work involved. Well, it's hard work for an old guy. connect air compressors to extension cords, you'll burn them up. And I didn't believe that once, and I burned up my air compressor. I bought 150 feet of air hose to reach out to the fence. The air starts here at the compressor, and the line pressure, there you can see. And the air is conveyed through 150 feet of hose. Then it goes to my nail gun. So let's see if this nail gun works. For demolition, I showed you this, but I didn't talk about it. The reason I can do this, bend these things off, is because these fence posts were put in correctly. That is, the concrete doesn't come all the way to the top of the hole. Rather, it's only filled to about 6 inches from the top. So I can bend these things off about 6 inches below the surface. I call this woven wire because it's woven wire. And if you need to connect two pieces together or take a piece apart, what you do is you disconnect one of the wires that go all the way through. Disconnect it at the top and at the bottom, and then this thing just winds out. See there? And if you are demolishing anything, I recommend all the stuff you demolish, kind of take care of it as you take it apart. Throw it away or store it or whatever. Otherwise, you'll end up with a massive cleanup job at the end. So this goes on the trailer. This might have some value, but personally, I wouldn't. A lot of it's bent, and I wouldn't clean it up for fighting the temptation to keep these pipes here. But you know what happens over the years? You keep junk like this, and pretty soon your whole operation is a big here's a scam on what I'm doing. First, I push the fence back a little bit and prop it up with a 2x2, and then install my fence post, and I put it right up against the bottom nailer. But the other nailers, since it's pushed back, aren't pushing against it. Then I prop it up and make sure that it's level and plumb. See the bubble there? And the reason this level is so important is because you can see, you look at that post and you'd swear that it's not level or it's not plumb. But it's an optical illusion because the fence is not plumb. Okay, what would Memphis Monday be if we didn't invent something? What we're doing here is making a little bracket. I'll attach this to the post, and then my lever arm, my post puller will lock underneath this so it won't come off. Okay, here's the Memphis Applegate fence post puller, patent pending. I didn't say anything about the other one we pulled out just a few minutes ago because it was loose. The wind had already knocked it down, so I knew it would come out. But you're going to see this one real live, and it's not going to be so easy. Well, that seemed pretty easy. That thing's coming right out. I tell you, we're geniuses. And by the way, that's what 150 feet of air hose looks like. Well, I'd say we made pretty good progress. We got 10 posts in. And it looks like we got about 10 more posts to go. I've been breaking these things off the surface, but another way to do it, if your ground is soft enough, and I think mine is to rig up something like this. And wrench it out of the ground. I've about talked myself into keeping these spikes. They're still in pretty good shape, and they're pretty expensive if you go to buy them. So if I can find someplace to store them, I think I'm going to keep them. Threw one of those away because it was broken. I also did a trash run to get rid of that stuff that we put on the trailer a few minutes ago, and I moved the trailer in here close to the fence, so I don't have to carry that broken stuff. The ones that aren't broke, I'll put over here where there'd be a constant reminder that I need to find some place to store them. Now I got to figure out what to do with these long pipes. How many of you think we can do this twice in a row? I'm wearing a 100% paper hat. Now you'd think that a hat of this quality would be pretty expensive, but you know, I got it. I got a pretty reasonable price on it. So if you shop around, you'll find fence demolition. I think I'll wait till I get the entire fence torn down before I take that to the... Well, there's our line of posts. I think there's about 21 of them. We got this one section. Got this one section right here to finish tomorrow. Right now what I'm doing is cleaning up my trash and all that business. Getting close to drum roll time. That's the last of the wire. And these are the last of the old fence posts. And this is the this is the last of the fence spikes. All right, we're putting our last pole in. One good thing about taking those posts out, root and all, is I have ready-made place to throw my new dirt. What I'm doing here is I'm putting a piece of tape on the outside where I'm going to be nailing, and I'm trying to position it about where I think the center line of the post is. Well, there she is, all finished. Really a two-part job. First part was to disassemble and dispose of that old chain link fence. And the second part of the job was to install those 22 vertical fence posts. I buried them about 2.5 feet into the ground. Put about 50 pounds of concrete in each hole. I was going to put them on 8-foot centers, but I decided to go with between 85 and 90 inches, depending on where the post was going to be located on the fence. So I think it's a big improvement. So this thing's been bothering me for a few months now, so I'm glad I knocked it out. Well, I guess that'll do it for another Memphis Monday. It took us about 4 or 5 days, but we finally got this job knocked out. It's really 2 jobs in one. We had to disassemble and dispose of that old chain link fence, and then we had to install 22 new posts and attach them to the fence panels we had in place. Didn't do nothing real technical, except our post puller. Don't forget about that post puller. We figured out a way to pull both the wooden posts and also the steel posts, and which wasn't much of a challenge since this ground here is so darn soft that a strong guy could probably pull them out by himself. So, well, anyway, thanks for playing along, and tweet and comment and all that other stuff you do on the internet. But most of all, make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for watching.